I'm passionate about, and I bet they'll spark something in you too. So buckle up for quick, high-impact episodes that'll shake you up.
Hey, welcome back to the Steve Setka Show. I'm your leader, your fearless leader, Steve Setka. We're on episode 23. We are rolling on the show. As per usual, we frame every episode before we introduce the guest with the Bible verse. And we got Coach Mike on the show today. We're going to do two Bible verses, not just one, both from the book of Colossians. Colossians 3:2 states, set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. And Colossians 3:23 to 24. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving Christ. Coach Mike, welcome to the show. You are built out of greatness. These verses hit home for you. Tell us your backstory when you think about these verses that we just spoke about.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there. Those verses are very powerful. As a matter of fact, before 2019, I would be maybe considered not a believer. I'd be quoted saying, literally, bring Jesus here, I'll slap him in his face. Many times people heard me say that because I had my own set of wisdom that I thought I gathered through observing life. And if you really look at life closely, you kind of see this underlying current of what really happens. And I call it cause and effect. And some may relate to the word karma. And I was relying on my own understanding of this, but kind of pulling from this observation I had until I started reading some verses. And that's one of the most powerful verses out there, because when I started reading the verses, I realized, wait a minute, this wisdom that I already know from my observations, these verses are talking about it in more depth. So I knew right away there had to be a truth. Instantly, I became a believer, because I felt, how could something write these things that I already know to be true, but in a more intimate way? I knew it was real because I knew what I felt and what I observed was real. So I instantly attached to the word. Now, those verses, very powerful. I always like to say this: we're 1 out of 8 billion people on this planet. So when you look at even the knowledge that any individual knows, they're missing so many links that it's almost impossible to even look out past today and plan, because there's so many different variables and options. There's so many different opportunities. When we come to a conclusion, even, it's taking our own knowledge and coming to all these nodes and creating one conclusion. So I realize it's impossible for us to be successful if we lean on our own understanding, because we don't know much. However, when you surrender to this natural current, there seems to be, I always ask people, everything in your life that absolutely needed to happen, it happened. But I have to invite them to stop and pause and look at it. And when they pause and look at it, they realize they were living in a dream they once had, but it wasn't on their linear plan. It was just the fact of, let me relate to the verses, all you have to do is dream, do the work that you think you need to do, and resources come. So you have to do some work. So those verses are powerful. They hit home, man. And I feel like my life has been surrendering to this unknown force, which it should be known to many, but unfortunately it is known to many, but it's not applied by many. And it's through the application is where you really get the victories. So yeah, powerful, packs a punch. Can't say any more on that.
Incredible, Mike. I love that. That's wonderful. And I can relate so much to what you say, because we're talking about worldly things here. We're talking about eternal things, and they're a little bit different. And I lived this dream at one point. I mean, I have a baby on the way in a couple months. I'm married within the last year. I have a beautiful property in St. James that my wife and I, reside in. I'm attending Springs, where you and I, have a commonality in our life. We never see each other there. We're one of 10,000 people at that church.
Yeah.
Really a fraction of, that entire conglomerate and that group understands in faith, for sure, which is incredible. But Mike, I was the same. I was a non-believer for a long time. I grew up in the church, the Protestant church, because it was a thing that you just did when you were raised, and you believe in something, you attach to a denomination. There's 45,000 of them out there, but you don't really understand per se. I always tell people that I feel like following Jesus was a choice that I had to make personally, without any other influence in my life from my family, from friends, from other people. And I'm one of the few people in my circle here that is a, non-denominational follower of God, God-fearing, building the kingdom. There's only one kingdom. I mean, there's lots of ways to get to it. We're all different, but it's been a journey for me as well too. And you know what? You're a business owner. So am I. Business and faith go hand in hand, which is why we talk about it on the show. But today is a holiday in Canada. But the mentality in faith and business is different than, I would say, the worldly mentality of a holiday. I'm still working today. I always work. Work is just what God led us to do in our lives. But a holiday today, and people say, oh, you're working, you're not taking the day off, you're still building content, you're producing, you're building the pipeline, you're working your freight business. That's kind of crazy. Well, I integrate my life, my faith, and my work all together. You resonate with that?
1000%. It's about serving. It's about serving.
How does that come into play specifically today when most people would tell you, oh, take a break, it's holiday Monday, it's a long weekend?
You know what? At the end of the day, gratitude is a powerful thing. But I mean, when are you not working? Sitting on a couch watching TV is work. So I choose to do something that uplifts me. I set goals. And when you set goals and you have a strong enough reason for what you do, you weather any storm. And days off, look, I'm passionate about what I do. I mean, to take a day off means doing what, right? So I naturally build in within my day some self-care. I naturally build in some meditation. I chose to live a life of solitude right now with no partner so that I could actually have this flexibility. I have my kids half time, and then the other half is me serving the word, doing the work that I need to do, and having some alone time so I could download some of these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful messages that come through. So to me, yeah, work is a passion, it's a privilege, it's an honor. And when you align your business with your heart, I mean, that's not work, that's servitude, right? So I feel like people's definition of work is where the underlying misconception could be, because for some, they're doing what they don't want to do. And unfortunately, why would you do that on a Monday? But when you're doing what you love, look, there's no opportunity you don't want to miss. So I went to the gym first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
First thing, came for this podcast because obviously it's part of my work, and I'm here in the office and I'm making invoices. I'm starting off my month. So I'm in the same boat as you, man. At the end of the day, it's a privilege to serve, and it's an honor, and someone would die to be able to even do work today.
We are so wonderfully privileged to be able to do this.
100.
Right. I was going to ask you actually if you had lifted this morning, because that's a big part of your spiritual, your mental, and your physical journey. So you were in the gym, you were lifting, you're getting stronger, because getting stronger in your life is a combination of all three of those. Where do you go to the gym, and what's your routine every single day when it comes to your physical fitness?
Yeah, so for instance, I go every second day. I started in 2020, and I'll tell you why I go. Despite what popular belief would be, it's not about results. I started in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And I said to myself, I wanted to start establishing a routine. I want to go every second day for a year, and I want to go without fail. I didn't think I could do it because I wasn't working out at all. And I think that when you start full force, you could really be discouraged. So I hired a coach, a trainer to start with me on March 2nd, because I knew hook or crook, I got to get this done. The first week I went, I was so sore. I almost wanted to pack it in, literally. But I said to myself, I literally had this moment. Wait a minute. If I can't do what I say I'm going to do in life, and I have big dreams, cancel those dreams, because things don't happen unless it's consistency, not intensity. However, if I could do my workout every second day, I knew I could do anything, literally, because it's consistency, not intensity. So I kept that routine to this day, and I'll tell you why I do it after. But the fact of the matter is, every second day without fail. And since the pandemic, I did it more than every second day. I wear 2 watches. Today I'm wearing 1, but when I'm out, I wear 2 watches, always my Apple Watch, so I can track my fitness. So I have proof in the record that I did it. There you go. Proof
There
in
you
the
go.
record that I did it every second day. Now, a lot of people out there know a friend who you invite to a party, and that friend would come at around, if the party starts at 7, they might show up at 8. Consistently, they're never on time. When you ask that friend, hey, meet me at this place at 7, do you expect them to show up at 7? Okay, most people feel that way about themselves. They tell themselves things and they don't actually believe they could do it, but they get the false sense of security today, but they have no faith in them. When I say something, my word is my bond. Now, why do I do this workout? I do this workout because I felt God gave me a task to serve humanity in my unique way by sharing perspective. And I wanted to prove to him that you give me the task, I could do it, because I didn't know if I could do any task that's given to me. So because I could do my routine, I say, download me the stuff, because I know that despite how I feel, I'm going to show up. Workout isn't about motivation. You can't rely on motivation. It's not enough. You have to something bigger than that. And to me, it's the fact that I have to serve. So I'm throwing myself out into uncomfortable territory to
Absolutely.
prove that I could serve. So when I have a task, I know I can hit it. So I have confidence in myself. So the workout routine is more about confidence. Now the residual effect, hey, you fill up a shirt nice.
Yeah.
But it ain't week 1. It ain't week 2. It ain't week 3. It ain't week 4. It ain't week 5. So you got to put in the work. There's a quote that I love. If you do the stuff in life that's hard, life becomes easy.
Yeah.
If you do the stuff in life that's easy, life becomes hard. A lot of people are choosing the easy route. Look at their later life. They're struggling, right? So those who fought, those who put in the work, they tend to have this more smooth sailing because they know who they are and what they're here to do. So yeah, that workout routine is a testimony to my drive and my ability to serve. And
I
that's
hear you,
what
Mike.
it
I feel the same way. I wrote down a couple notes here. You're getting me going here, man. I just want to interject and interrupt and say, hey, then this is exactly how I feel. You're right. Do the hard things, live an easy life later. Do the easy things
yeah.
now, live a hard life later, right? Pick your hard. There's
Pick
so many
your
different variations
hard.
of that quote that you could spin and you could utilize it, put into action for sure. It's discipline, man, and consistency. And you have two things really in life that God gives you. And if you let both of them falter, you got nothing left. Your health and your word. Cardiovascular strength, physical strength, and your word. You put those together and you're going to do well. I also see it this way, Mike. When you show up to do something, you got to be on top of your game every single time. We go to Sunday service and listen to the message, and Zach Fontaine will say this at Springs. I can't take a Sunday off. I can't be not at the top of my game because people expect greatness, and this is what they show up for to get their fuel from the
Yeah.
gas station for the week. And that's what I call Springs. I call church going to the gas station because it's filling up for the week. Going to the gym every day or every second day, discipline is filling that tank so that you can show up physically as your best self
You bet.
every single day for sure. You know, I combine it with a variety of different things: food, exercise. I even take naps midday sometimes because I'm up in the morning. I do a 15 or 20 nap midday so that I can recharge, which is a pretty incredible principle. And if
Yes.
you integrate in that into your life and your business, you're going to do well. And like you said, man, I go around and my wife tells me I look good in my shirt. That makes me feel good.
Amen.
Amen. And I'm fit and I go for a run with my dog and it's just wonderful. So it's all part and parcel in a different type of thing. Mike, you talked a little bit about how you show up in your life. And I remember listening to you talk about something in a presentation you made not too long ago. How about you're meticulous in the things that you do? Your house is clean, your office is tidy. How you show up in your personal life when nobody is watching is how you show up when people are watching. Tell us about how you organize your life, both personally and professionally, to bring the best of Mike to his clients.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. At the end of the day, one thing about showing up, I feel like, some days I feel weak, but I still show up to the gym, not my best self. But then you could pull your best self from out of it. So showing up is one of the biggest keys to anything because despite how you feel, when you just take an inch step forward, you start to build that momentum and then you get to your best self. So in order to be your best self, some days you got to be weak and still walk the tread, but showing up is partial. I mean, is a part of the program is what you have to do. Now, I have a principle. My job is to serve. And what does this mean? My heart's going to tell me what is the right thing to do, and I like to follow it. So I have a few principles. When it comes to comfort for me, that gets put on the back seat, on the back burner. People call me crazy because I had a relationship that was flourishing in all ways, but I didn't feel that I could do that and this mission that I want to accomplish. I want to heal a million mindsets. I want to help a million mindsets transform. And I didn't feel I could do both. I didn't feel I could do both because I have my full-time F&I training job. When I come home, I have to fill up a love tank or fill up my dream, and I have a big goal to accomplish. So first and foremost, I made a choice. I serve discomfort. I serve people who need the word. I serve people who are not feeling so good about themselves. I empower people. So how does that look? No particular way. It's just if I have a call, somebody needs me for a particular reason or a particular opportunity, like to talk, to share perspective, I show up. Now, friends call me, hey, Mike, we have a party here, and that might not happen. That might not happen at all. Matter of fact, my phone hardly rings because I hardly reach out to anyone. But God sends folks my way, and I show up, and I know that I just have to show up. So I really just say, I just show up. I'll get a call like Hani. He started his podcast. He said, Mike, hey, could you do this right away? It's not an option, man. When I say it's not an option, in Jamaica, they needed a keynote speaker. Someone fell off the table. They need a keynote speaker last minute. But I'm in Canada, but they knew about me and my mindset, right? So they asked, can I do the speaking? Yes. And they said, Mike, unfortunately, we can't afford to bring you down or anything. I spent $6,000 of my money, front my flight, made folders for everybody. I have these nice Coach Mike folders. I made some material for them. I did a full presentation and I showed up, inspired folks. So I feel like in God's world, showing up means you're not going to see a check at the end. Mm-hmm. The last thing you're going to see is a check. You're going to see an opportunity to show up to make change. When you go in there, checks fly out because you reach out to new opportunities and they bring you and they want to pay you, right, for the services. So literally, it's simple for me. It's just showing up. When the call comes, literally that easy. No complications. I just don't think about it. And I don't think about no money attached. There's a funny story about how my job is and how I get paid for my F&I, how I get paid for my F&I training that I do, finance and insurance training in the auto business, and my rate is super high per day. It wasn't from my picking. It's because I came in with a heart. So many things I see where I came in just with my heart, and that's where the checks are. So I don't chase money, I chase transformation. And that's the key.
We talked about this on the last show with a fellow that I do training with in the States. It's about transformation over transaction. And that's exactly what you're getting at. And Mike, you said it exactly right. God puts people in connection with each other when they need it, right? So I needed an opportunity to speak with you today on the pod. You said, done, I'm in. You booked on the link. You got yourself in. We've met each other a few times. We got a lot of common shared values and core visions. And man, we disagree on some stuff as well too. And we get to the truth very quickly. It's super fun. And there's something else that you said there, Mike, that really hit home. It's not necessarily about how you feel. It's about the results that the work that you put in. I love Andy Frisella. He talks about your results will not be determined by how you feel. They'll be determined if you show up and do the work or not. So your feelings sometimes are irrelevant, right? And that's nuanced. Don't want that to I don't want that to get taken out of perspective, but it is definitely very true. Talking about business, talking about faith, tell us a little bit more about F&I and what you do in the automotive industry and how you've carved out your niche with this mentality that you bring to your life.
Oh, yeah. Testimony in itself. Let's start. I graduated from, I'll talk about what F&I is. First of all, F&I, finance and insurance. In the automotive industry, it's called F&I, finance and insurance manager. After you buy the car, you go to that person who signs the documents with you. That's the F&I manager, the finance and insurance manager. And particularly, I train that manager in the dealership. So it's very niche. I don't train everyone at the dealership. I train that specific role. Now, 2004, I graduated from University of Manitoba. I have this paper. It's a commerce degree. I thought, wow, I'm off to the races.
Yeah, I got those too.
However, nobody would hire me. They wanted practical experience. I almost felt like, okay, this paper is cool, but it doesn't really do much if you don't have the practical background. Couldn't find a job, so I applied anywhere, and I end up sending an application to a car business because I needed something. They hired me. Apparently, they'll hire anyone. As long as you can move your feet, you have a license, you're good. Which means that there's no discrimination, equal opportunity. They don't care about your resume. They care about you starting and seeing what you could do. So anyways, I did that for 5 years. And after 5 years of sales, I felt like I needed some change, man. I need to educate myself. I got a commerce degree. I need to go pursue my career. I need to work for an organization. And then funny enough, when I had that desire to change, funny enough, be careful what you wish for. Something's going to deliver it always. I had a desire to do more. So that's why I want to leave the industry. I didn't think of the finance and insurance manager. I didn't think of being a finance manager because I didn't think I could get there because I didn't have a finance background per se. So I was ready to leave. All of a sudden, next day, I got a phone call from the GM of the store. another store and called me and said, hey, could you come down to the store? I got an opportunity I want to talk to you about. I went down to the store and he says, hey, look, we have this opportunity as a finance manager. One of them left. We think you'd be a good fit. We know it's in training. You're always putting your hand up. You're always active. By the way, what you do in the dark will come to light. People see what you're doing that you don't know you're doing. So keep doing your steps, because I couldn't believe when they say they saw me putting his hand and that they called me for the position. People apply for this position. They look for this position, but the action that you see, people are looking at it. So you got to keep doing it. So anyway, they said, hey, there's an opportunity to be a finance manager. Now, me knowing it's growth, I said, okay. He said, go on the lot, think about it for 15 minutes, let me know. So I went on the lot. I called my wife at the time, like, look, position for a finance manager came up. It's growth. It's management. I think I should take it. So I went back. I took the job. Now, when I took the job, I had training from some counterparts, and I realized that they tell me this certain customer only present this product, like warranty. This customer only present this. I'm thinking, how do you have the skills to prejudge people? This does not work. This does not work. Their averages, which means when they sell products, the amount of money they made was pretty low, and for the dealership. And it was like, I was thinking, okay, this is what I'm being trained for, until I started to realize that, first of all, mindset is important, and there's no one has the ability to read somebody without asking questions. I'm sorry. So I felt that there's an opportunity there. So what I did was I used the customer's feedback as a tool. Whenever they'd say no, it would allow me to reframe what I did to try to give them more education so they could see how the product works. Long story short, I did that for 10 years. And after 10 years, I said to myself, I need some change. Now, let me put this in perspective. I was making $400K, some years $500K roll. And I said to myself, I need some change. Now, I have a deathbed theory. I fast forward myself to my end of my life mentally. I look at my current life and I say, with this decision, what am I going to say on my deathbed I should have did? Leave. Now, I made this decision on a Saturday. Guess what? That same Saturday, I went to the manager and I said, look, I got to leave. I'm out of here. I'm taking the rest of the month off. He couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe it. I was the #1 finance manager for Honda in Canada, in North America. So he couldn't believe it. But I knew that, for one, I needed something else, because on my deathbed, I'm going to be telling myself a different story. But why did I just leave cold turkey? I looked back in my life and I looked at every single thing that I took a step for. Something brought it together. Look in your own life. Every time you took a step in a direction, it always worked out, or it redirected where you need to be. So I thought, let me test this principle, because this is right when I found God. This was in 2019. Let me test him out was my thing. I even made a journal, and I journaled all my days. And you know what my only job was when I left? It was to watch 100 YouTube videos on any education, knowing, for one, it would take the pressure off me to find a job. I will find something in there. I will find something in there. I trusted the process. So when I found this consulting course, and it talks about, hey, all you have to do is take someone from the current state to the desired state.
That's
If you
right.
solve their business, if you solve their problem, you got a business. Guess what? Even if you're a jerk and you solve their problem, it's better than the nice guy who doesn't. So, but I'm the nice guy, and I think I could have solved the problem. So I thought, this is okay. This makes sense. Business is as complicated as they make it seem. So what I did was, I basically productized what I did. So the way that I've reached the success, I did my best to productize the steps and the mindset, and then I had an idea. Now, I first needed a hypothesis of how I could create change for the finance managers, because they have free training in this industry. Okay, finance managers, let me repeat, get free training in the industry. The people who supply the products train them for free. I'm saying, look, I can make a change. So what I did was I productized it, and I said it's mindset and process. Prejudging people, I could work with teaching that, how not to do that. And process, a lot of people don't have a process. You need a process. That's how you get better. I give examples of how processes could make you better. Anyway, long story short, mind and process was my hypothesis. Now, hypothesis doesn't do you much. You have to test it out. Funny enough, I went to different dealerships, and this was my plan. They'd know I'm off a job. They'd say, hey, Mike, we have an opportunity for a finance manager. Come down to our dealership. Let's talk about it. I'll go under that umbrella. And then when I meet them, I say, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I do. Training. They're like, Mike, we have free training, man. This doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, like, see what you have, but we have it. So I kept doing that. I ran into a dealership group that said, hey, look, we can't do anything for you, but let's set you up for the VP. Auto Canada is the largest publicly traded auto group in Canada. They almost went under. They're under restructuring, so maybe they'll like your idea. I met with the VP. We went to Joey's. He loved my energy. He loved my hypothesis. He said, let's test it out. Okay. So tested it out. It changed almost the whole company's finance and insurance operations. You know, God bless. I look, when you make a move, God brings the opportunities. Now, just even talking about that opportunity, here was a mistake made. The person who hired me said, hey, look, let's test out your hypothesis. How much do you think you should get paid? I have the email to this date where I wrote, if I hit all their goals, maybe 10K a month. They came back to me and said, look, Mike, we can't do that. That's way too high. How does 35K sound? Misread my email. Misread my email. Okay. So for the full year, that's what I was getting paid. Their company changed. Now, after 2 years from that, I got a phone call from somebody at the company saying, Mike, you did a good job. We don't need you anymore. We're going to take this program and run with it. It's the program I created it. And they said, maybe you could go do coaching and other stuff. That letter came at 1:17 p.m. It's the number I always see. So I already knew because see, what we think we have is good. God wants us to have great.
Yes.
Okay. And you have to leave good for great, but we won't volunteer to do it. So you have to do these things. So if you just trust the process, whatever happens, you do the best. You'll see that there's a plan for it, man. So anyways, I thought, what am I going to do? I guess, and I looked up in the sky, literally, you want me to start my business now? So I did that, and I had a program of how I was going to get new customers. So long story short, a group wanted me to train for them, and I asked them, and I went in with my heart. Again, this is an industry where the training is free.
Yeah. Yeah.
I now am on my own business and I have to convince dealerships to pay money for this training. So I went into it with the attitude of transformation. If I could transformation, hopefully they'll pay me. So a group asked me, hey, Mike, could you do group training? I never did before, but I'm like, okay, let me create one. I created a 1-day group training. It's for 4 to 8 people. And I asked him, hey, so he asked me, how much is your services? I'm like, I just started. What do you think it's worth? You know what he said? I was 15K a day. I didn't know if I heard it right.
I think your email was incorrect.
Didn't know if I heard it right. And then that's now my rate going forward. That was my rate from 2022 to now. Okay, a day. So I do like 3 or 4 a month. And then it allows me to focus on the work. See, this is why the money comes in, because it knows how I steward it. I have those days, I cap it off at 4 days max to 5 days max. And then the rest, I'll move over to next month, because the rest of the month, you know what I'm doing? I'm creating programs so I could go into schools. I'm creating programs so I could talk about mindset. I'm creating programs so I could give back to the community. That's where my heart's at. Everything I did, I followed my heart, and that's where the riches came. So all I gotta say is I see his hands all over it. It's want to be saying one thing clear. It is not my work. My only work is to have the dream and the courage to move and to actually move. And he brings the resources. Our job is just to dream, have the courage, and he will bring the resources. Look in our own life. So it's a story of faith. It's a story of God providing. It's a story of him making ways so I have the peace so I could deliver this program to many. It's just miraculous. But it's spirit contemporary, because the mindset stuff I teach, it's more getting them to own themselves and understand who they are and get rid of their limitations and growth. So sorry for the long story, but and there's more detail within it, but I just thought I'd give it a summary that how his hand's all over it.
That was a long story created short, but still a medium-like story. If you write a novel, you got to write a book. I think that's something that is coming in your future, which is incredible. We'll talk about that on another show.
Yeah, man.
Many nuggets there. So many great things, Mike. I love it. There's commonalities with a lot of the shows that we have. And I posted something on Instagram called the fence illusion, which you spoke about there briefly, that says, hey, if you're on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence and you're sitting on that fence, you're actually not there yet. It's too comfortable. You got to jump over. You got to go something uncomfortable, because you said that the deathbed example. If you're looking back, and I'm doing that right now with this brand and developing training products, putting systems in place, putting content and material out there, doing the podcast is exactly that. I got big expectations for my life because God knows that I have more to give. And he knows the greatness that I have and that he wants for me. I just got to take the puzzle pieces that he puts in front of me and put them together. That was a viral post that I put on LinkedIn, and it blew up 60,000 impressions. It was wonderful. I love that. You also said, Mike, reframe the no. Take what people are telling you and reframe that. Ask more questions, and you'll come to a conclusion. My dad always said something that was very powerful to me. He said, answer a question with another question, and then you get more information from them that you use. I do freight right now and transport. And funny enough, you and I both work in the transport industry. Yes. You're just transporting people and vehicles. I'm transporting freight in other types of vehicles, which is crazy. So they tell me no, they say, oh, your price is too high. Oh, you're doing this. I need this. I need that, whatever. Tell me more. What is your target? What are you looking for? And sometimes it comes off a little bit aggressive, but if you come at it with the perspective of service, like you talked about, instead of pressure or transaction, which I posted yesterday on my story, you're going to create transformations in people's lives. The best customers that I have now that I work with all started with resistance or something. This is not the right fit right now. And persistence always beats resistance, in my opinion.
Amen.
If the fit is correct, which is amazing. You got redirected. I'm getting redirected in my life. And there's exactly a reason why I had you on the show, because I needed to hear that. And the world around the Steve Setka Show brand needed to hear that as well, too. We got to wrap it up here shortly, Mike. You gave us a great story about what you do in the auto industry, how your faith interjects with your business, and how your physical, mental, and spiritual fitness all come together and it's integrated into one life. Coach Mike, how do people find you, more about your brand and what you're doing to serve?
Yeah, I have website. I have www.coachmike.com. Very easy to remember. For my finance and insurance, it's www.fandimasters.com. For the most part, it's Googling me. God seems to send people my direction. Instagram, it's Coach Mike Speaks. And a lot of people who follow me, that's where I'm getting a lot of the opportunities from, because they hear the message consistently. Pretty much the best way. But I'm always open resource to anybody who reaches out to me. If you go to my website, send me an email, and you just want to talk about mindset, if you just want to talk about spirituality, if you just want to talk about practical ways to kind of feel this presence of God and see it in your life, this is where I shine, because I made a goal to be very authentic in this talk about God, because this is not just spirituality. This is not just cause and effect. There's more. This stuff is written truth that when you apply, you see it, but a lot of people don't know how to tap in. So yeah, email, Instagram, like I mentioned, those handles, you can reach out to me and I'll gladly be there to serve you and share perspective and brainstorm.
Incredible, Mike. That is fantastic. The book of Colossians, great knowledge, great news. We are here to serve God. If you could plant one seed in 15 seconds into the next generation's mind, that will get them thinking how to turn their life upside down and reach their greatness, what would it be?
The thinking, actions, and procedures that got you where you are today, they're not good enough to get you to where you want to go tomorrow. So something has to change. And the only thing that changes is when you take action. So if you want your life to change, take action, plant those seeds. So it's action, action, action. Take those thoughts that you have, bring them into the physical, put them on paper. Ideas don't pay bills, smiles don't pay bills, faith doesn't pay bills. It's action with faith that pays bills. So take action and trust
I
yourself.
love that, Mike. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on the show today. We are here to serve God, create great business, doing wonderful things with love at the forefront of our heart. Go kill it in life. Amen. We'll see you on the next episode of the Steve Setka Show.
Sounds great.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you found value in what we shared and that you'll take it with you to positively impact the world around you. If so, we'd love for you to take a moment to rate, review, and share the show, because we're on a mission to grow and reach more hearts. Prayers, gratitude, and love. Until next time.